Welcome to the Do Zone, where entrepreneurs go to get things done. I'm your host, Josh Thomas. You can find me on all social media at JT Literally. Each week, I bring on experts from a variety of backgrounds to share their secrets on how to optimize performance so you can take massive action, crush your goals. The Do Zone is sponsored by Fast Track Funnels, the new way to bring in consistent daily sales for your business in 2025 without cold outreach or burning cash on ads. We use this method with a brand new business to generate more than $100,000 cash collected in less than 30 days. Download the free step-by-step blueprint that shows exactly how we did it at getconversions.net. Once again, that's getconversions.net. Today's guest is Schuyler Williamson, and Schuyler is a leadership expert, entrepreneur, and decorated military veteran who has consistently achieved at the highest level in both business and service. As the author of The Steady Leader, Leadership Models That Bring Clarity to Chaos, Schuyler provides actionable strategies for leading through uncertainty, drawing from his experience as a Bronze Star Medal recipient and combat officer with deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan. Schuyler, welcome to the Do Zone. Tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
For me, it starts with standards. And I think, we all are literally abusive to ourselves, meaning we have the highest standards for ourselves than we do compared to anyone else. At least producers do. But I think those standards are healthy. I firsthand, I saw in the military, an organization driven by standards. When you have high standards for the people that you surround yourself with, and you have high standards for yourself, as long as you give grace, when people don't miss the standard, I mean, it gets things done. I mean, your standards will drive your behaviors, because if you're a person like me, a person that's going to listen to a podcast that's going to make them better, you're going to obey those standards. You're going to try to meet them.
Standards and standards and goals sometimes kind of intertwine with each other, but I don't think that they're necessarily the same thing. And so when you're talking about standards specifically, how does somebody define that in a way that they could start applying it?
Yeah. When I hear the word goals, I assign that to vision. And so for me, vision is, what does it look like in the end when it's done right? And so it's future focus. Some people set visions for a year, some set it for 3 years, some do the BHAG, right? The 10-year vision. But your goals are assigned to that future outcome. To me, standards are what are in place to guide the way that you operate today. It is, if we're saying we're going to, in search of excellence, we want to perform with excellence. That's how you're performing today. So the actual execution of your plan in pursuit of that future outcome, your standards are going to drive the activity that you produce. So to me, that the easiest way to differentiate between the two is goal is a future focused thing. Standards drive how you operate today. When I wake up and I go take action as a salesperson, what is the standard that I'm going to take action at? And that's going to set the pace for the rest of the day.
Well said. And that's something that we should all strive to, is setting those standards. And what am I doing? Well, how am I keeping my discipline for operating today so that I can have the outcome that I want tomorrow? I can tell you, I mean, this is probably no challenge for you with all of your military experience, but I can tell you, getting up at 5:45 in the morning to hit the gym, not easy for me.
Yeah.
And I want to not do it most of the time.
Right.
But I got standards and I let them slide. And now I got to establish them again. And it's holding on to that present accountability so that I can hit that future goal that will matter whenever I get there.
Yeah. I think you got to remind yourself of what feeling you're after, right? Like everything we do in life is for a feeling. When you're done with your morning workout, you feel accomplished or satisfied or peaceful, whatever your workout brings you physically. That's a feeling that it produces. And I believe that everything we go and do is for that outcome of a feeling. And every once in a while, for those hard things, like you're saying, you got to remind yourself, like, hey, I'm doing this for that feeling of accomplishment, and laying in bed is going to give me that. So I need to meet the standard because I want to feel accomplished. And that'll, again, it just sets the pace for the whole day, right? And that's, if you want to have a full productive day and not just a productive hour, that means you got to start out the gate pretty hard.
So let's talk about that discipline that you keep leaning on. And one thing that you shared with me here is you are one of the most disciplined people that anybody will ever meet. And one of the ways that you like to practice that discipline is by teaching leadership and resilience and developing those skills that somebody needs to navigate constantly chaotic environments. And I feel like that's a really good theme for us to dive into because
Yeah.
we all wake up getting out of bed, even if we manage to get out of bed and we're like, all right, today's going to be a great day. I'm setting my intention. I've got my standards. And then chaos strikes,
Yeah.
and it always does. And that's what always throws us off. So
Yeah.
how do we navigate that and maintain resilience and discipline?
Yeah. I, to me, 90% of discipline is giving yourself a shot to say no to something. So, like, however you can set yourself up to say no to every distraction that's out there that's different than what you're trying to do, you should go and do that. For me, I think there's reacting to chaos, and then I think there's responding to chaos. And certainly in combat, we wanted to respond to chaos because lives were at stake, right? If you just react in the middle of a firefight, you're going to get somebody hurt. So you need to respond. And to me, the difference between reacting and responding is actually taking the time to think.
Mm.
And in a chaotic time, it's probably the last time that you want to sit down and spend time thinking. So you have to do it efficiently, and that's why we look to models, right? I'm just looking at the books behind you there, Atomic Habits and Never Split the Difference. The models that we use in those books to execute, smartly, to execute clearly. I mean, in a negotiation with in a terrorist negotiation, right? I know they write about that and Never Split the Difference. That's a very chaotic moment, but he has a model on how he negotiates. And that model brings clarity to that situation such that the environment doesn't dictate how he operates. He brings the model in, he executes per the model. It makes his thinking more precise and it makes his execution more precise. And so I think in the end, if you're going to quiet the chaos, the best way to do that is spend time thinking. And I think your best thinking is done when you can bring a model into it and execute per that model.
So I love the idea of react versus respond. And I
Yeah.
was going to ask you, well, what's the difference? But you did a great job of describing that. I react to things. It's almost like a reaction is almost like pulling back, or, like a knee jerk
Yeah.
kind of reaction. It's a
Yeah.
reflex.
Yeah.
A response is something you control.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that's thought through that actually is going to take ground rather than lose it. I mean, the thing with reacting is you don't know how it's going to play out. If you put some thought towards something and you respond, you're making a guess on if I take this action, this is what I think is going to happen after that action. And
Mm.
so there's a much better chance of success if you're thinking that next step instead of just reacting and letting things land the way that they land, right?
So I get a nasty email from a customer
Yeah.
if I reply within 5 minutes, I'm reacting. If I
Yeah.
take 30 minutes to think through what I need to say, I'm responding.
Right. I mean, like, yeah, write your email and then save it and just take a break, come back and read it again and then send it again. I mean, yeah, listen, I've been married for 20 years. I'm not trying to react to anything in my marriage, right?
Well said.
I want to make sure that I respond. That's how you stay married for 20 years.
That's
And,
right.
and I think, and as father, as a father, my kids, they act a fool sometimes. And listen, if I react per my animal instincts, how good am I going to be at fathering? It just ain't gonna, there's a place for people like that, and it's called jail. And you know, unless
Okay.
unless you respond to those situations, you're going to react and probably do something you're ashamed of. And I don't know. I tend to try to bring alignment in my personal life to my professional life, and these models for how to think things through. Yeah, I'm using them every day in my professional life to try to be a better salesperson, to try to be a better leader, to try to be a better, operator. But I'm going to take those things home too, because if I'm thinking more effectively at work, I'm going to think more effectively at home. Why not practice them in all regards?
Makes sense to me. So tell us a little bit more about what you do and who you serve and how they can connect with you.
Yeah. Well, follow me on LinkedIn or X. Every morning I read business book and I journal, and I share that journal post every morning. So if you're not a big reader and you just want the cliff notes from what I'm reading, you can just follow me there. And you can also go to schuylerwilliamson.com, and that you'll see everything that we're working on. Yes, I did write the book, and I would love to sell more books. The title of it's The Steady Leader, and it's the models of how I lead myself, my team, and my business. But look, we do real estate in Austin, Texas. We build luxury homes and we sell homes. We also operate a laundromat that's franchising. So you can check out our laundromats at laundrylove.com, and we're franchising those. So we're running a couple of different businesses. And yet there's lots of opportunities in being in business with us. And, I just hope that people would reach out and just share with me what your goals are. And, we'll get you plugged in, whether it's real estate, laundry, leadership, we'll get you plugged in.
All right. And this website, schuylerwilliamson.com, is that a good place to go and learn about all of this?
Absolutely. You can get in touch with me in a lot of different ways there.
All right. So, hey, we're going to wrap up from here. Thanks so much to our guest, Schuyler Williamson, for sharing a little bit of wisdom about how he gets things done. For those of you who are interested in learning more, you can visit his website, schuylerwilliamson.com, or you can find him on LinkedIn. And spell it for us, Schuyler.
Yep. It's Schuyler. And I believe I'm the only Schuyler Williamson spelled that way in Austin, Texas, believe it or not.
Except for that guy that lives 2 doors down from you.
Oh, he's got the same first name, but not last name.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Well, hey, whether you're on your morning commute, out in the gym, or somewhere in the field, snap a selfie, tag me at JT Literally. Show me what you do while you're in the do zone. And one more time, if you want daily sales and a full calendar of prospects who want what you have, download the Fast Track Funnels Blueprint for free at getconversions.net. Now let's get to work. Hey, thanks for listening to the Do Zone podcast. If you're running a service-based business that's looking to grow this year, let's talk about how we can slingshot you into momentum with a quick injection of cash and sales. Our clients typically see results in as little as 7 days. To learn more about what we do, you could go to factor1.io. Once again, that's factor1.io. We'll see you next time.